like to introduce to you, and please join me in welcoming Jerry Brown.
Thank you, and good morning. It's nice to be here in San Jose. I had to come all the way from Oakland. Of course, Oakland's a little more civilized than San Jose, even though we have a higher murder rate. No, but we're close to San Francisco. We're on the Bay. It's a great town. Of course, I never went there before I became mayor. People in San Francisco kind of ignore Oakland, but I found out after you go over there, it's pretty darn nice. And I've been there for about 15 years. In fact, I live downtown. I built a loft, a huge loft, because you may recall when I was governor, I didn't live in the governor's mansion. Some of you may remember that. It's a long time ago, by the way. It's before, well, I won't say before, but it was a long time ago, okay? And I got to be very careful about that, because one of the big issues in the campaign is how old is he? So I just got started last week. Because, you know, you don't want to be around too long. You might figure out what's going on. You might know how the whole damn thing works. Because a lot of times people like to have these stars that get up there, you know. It's kind of exciting. When they make the announcements outside their office, gets everybody all excited, but they oftentimes don't know what the hell's going on. And so things just get more and more screwed up. They are. That's a problem. So I read somewhere where you're not supposed to talk about your experience, because then they think you've been around, you're part of the problem, the status quo. Let's get somebody who's totally ignorant and fresh. Yeah, no, I think it's a real bad idea, a real dumb idea. Because remember when you got out of college and you got your degree and you went to work? Did you know a lot? No. I got out of law school, and it takes you about 5 years before you hardly know anything. And when I ran for governor, I didn't know anything. And I didn't know anything. But I was young, I was pretty. You should have seen all that beautiful hair. Actually, I did a pretty good job anyway. I did know a few things when my father was governor. He was. If you go on my webpage, and I want you to all go to my webpage, because I am the internet candidate. I don't know if you know that. I am. I Twitter, I tweet, I Facebook, I Lincoln, or whatever the hell all that stuff is. But we do it. Actually, I have 500,000 fans following me on Twitter, and I bet none are in this room. How many here are following me on Twitter? Raise your hands. 1, 2. Are you lying? No, you're lying. I knew she was telling. Anybody who has time to follow me on Twitter doesn't have enough to do. And you're not representing your fellow workers, because you shouldn't be wasting time on nonsense. Anyway, just as a matter of anthropological research, though, you could check it out just to see what it is. But you should go to my webpage, jerrybrown.org. It's very simple. In fact, I have a few cards here. In case you don't know, I have playing cards. I have a picture of myself in various poses, and a picture of my wife and Dianne Feinstein marrying us. And then I have all the other things on the back. How long I've held office. That's why the print is so small. Anyway, so we have one of those around. But it has my webpage, jerrybrown.org, and if you go to that, you'll find it starts my biography. And I started, actually I was born in 1938, if you can believe it. But my first political campaign was 1943. And I have a picture. You'll see it on there. It's a cute picture, actually. It's in black and white. And it's a San Francisco newspaper, and I was sitting on the table. My 2 older sisters were there. My father was signing his papers to run for district attorney of San Francisco. And I was kind of the unhappy kid that didn't want to be there. But that was my first campaign, and I put it 1943, and then every year thereafter, you can follow all the other campaigns. There are like dozens of them. So I did know something about governor. And the people I hired, of course, were all younger than me. So I was 36. A lot of the people were in their 20s. Of course, now they're old codgers. But we did a lot of interesting things. But I have to tell you, time and making mistakes and living and having relationships and having them fall apart and getting angry and then getting friendly again, you learn stuff. And it gives you an insight and a wisdom and an empathy that you don't have before all those things happen. Now, the trick is to build up your life experience before becoming too decrepit and cognitively defective. And so it's a challenge between experience acquisition and decline. And at that perfect point is where you want to be when you take on your maximum challenge. That's the theory I'm going to offer today. And no one ever has offered that theory before to this group. And no one will ever offer it again. Anyway, but I do have to mention a few things because a lot of people talk about new ideas and creativity, and people say, we don't want any of those old ideas. Okay, I agree with that. And I've never been accused of old ideas, by the way. I've been accused of a lot of things. You know, they say I'm flaky, and I'm always jumping around all the time, and, you know, a lot of things. But I just have to tell you about a few of the ideas. The idea that under the disability insurance program, women should be able to get pregnancy benefits. That was one of my new ideas in the 70s. Collective bargaining. That was an idea. Farm worker bargaining. Those were ideas. And another interesting idea, oh, by the way, alternative energy. California, right after I left the governorship, had 94% of the electricity generated from wind power in the whole world. Now it's like about 10%. We were there. We had a 55% tax credit I signed in 1975 for putting in solar collectors. 55%. That's way beyond what we are today. So we had a lot of ideas, and one idea which I think was pretty good was a wellness commission. And boy, did they ridicule that idea. Because most people thought everything was about getting sick. And then you get sick, and then you go to the doctor. And people started thinking in the 70s, what about wellness and positive ways of taking care of yourself? So we did have a wellness commission, and as soon as I left and Duke Majan came to town, he got rid of it. Well, now you find most corporations are talking about wellness, and it's a big issue in the new National Health Plan. And there's lots of ideas, okay? But I don't want to talk about memory lane, because there's a lot of stuff happening right now. And a lot of what's happening right now are some of the same conflicts, only they just get exacerbated. And it's really tough. I mean, now they're up there at that, still trying to figure out the budget, and, you know, the gap is huge. By the way, I do want to say that we've been doing that. I had a couple of ideas as mayor, too. I started 2 schools, 2 public schools, public charter schools. Some people wonder about charter schools, but this is a public school. We take anybody that can qualify. I started a military school, of all things. Now, I know most of you are liberals, so you don't probably like military schools, but some kids do better with a little discipline and authority and a framework of structure. And the Oakland Military Institute has 530 kids, 6 through 12, 40% girls. We've gotten kids into Yale in our brief 8 years, 2 into West Point. We've had about 20 into the UC system. 75% of the kids get into a 4-year college. That's pretty good, because the rest of Oakland is about 10%. And I got that. The reason I got the military, I want to just so you understand a little bit about me. I'll tell you where the idea came from. When I was growing up, I never would clean my room. And my mother said, if you don't start cleaning that room, I'm sending you to a military school. And boy, I didn't like that. Boy, I hated the very notion of that, because I liked to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. How I wanted to do it. Anyway, well, I didn't go to a military school. I really never cleaned